Welcome to Tami's Soul Speak, featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendrix, offering insight, spirituality, transformation, and clarity to every soul. Now, here's Tami.
Greetings. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our group. Welcome to this hour that we'll spend together. Welcome to the gathering that has been gathering actually before we even got here. As you know, the animals all call us in and we just show up for our assignment with the animals. So I'm so honored that you would spend the time in your day and your evening to be with all of us. I'd love to, as you're commenting, hello, Deborah from Dallas. Let me know where you're from. I'd love to know that. I don't ever ask that, and I'd love to know where you're chiming in from. So hi, Kim Ann and Sarah Jean. Hey, Julie, Tracy, Soul Sister. Yes, I've got that lapis in the back. Hey, Patty. It's good to see you. Hey, Pamela. So good to see everybody coming in. If you're new, I'm so honored you're joining us. I'm really excited. If you've been here before, I'm equally honored. It's just a wonderful group. Michigan, Louisiana, Lee, hi from Vermont. And let's see, Patricia, Northern California, Megan, Australia. Wow. Gretchen from Illinois. Hey, Charmaine from Washington. And Sarah Jean from, I believe I saw Washington, it's moving fast. Portland, Oregon. Let's see, another Australia, San Antonio, Diana Piper and Diana Sparks. Oh, it's so nice. Look at that, Florida. Hey, Katie from Arden, my neighbor. Um, and Stacy, Idaho. Yes. Wow. All over South Florida, South Australia. What a group, Fort Worth. Hey, Amy from Pennsylvania. Really good to see you. Um, oh, Tracy, Knoxville, Tennessee. Good to see you. And Bridget, Wilmington. Wow. All of you all from everywhere that you're joining in. And Susie Everett from, is that Southern California? And let's see, Margaret Highsmith. I didn't know you were in North Carolina. Hey, Kim, you're in Charlotte. That much I know, or near Mooresville. Um, it's just such a wonderful gathering, and you know, it's good to be with you all. The time that we have in this hour is really about creating conversations that include and honor all souls, including the animals. Together, we're a community connected by soul conversations. And even as we, have these meetings and then we go out in our lives, those soul conversations are still continuing, and it's beautiful. We've started, it's like the ongoing conversation. So tonight's topic was really brought about by the animals who are impacted so greatly by the global events, the current happening. This is a show about the world, and it's a show about us. There is no separation. And so I know that we all have been impacted by what is going on in the world and wondering what we can do and what the animals think. And I think as we stay together in this time tonight, we can take a look at some areas that the animals have pointed to. They've shared some messages with me that I want to share with you. And I have actually reached out to a friend of mine. I've brought her up before, Rita Reynolds, and I've actually read a portion out of her book, Ask the Cow. But I reached out to Rita. She lives in Virginia, and she's just this wonderful, she's an author, but she's this beautiful animal soul um, champion. And I've learned so much from her books. And so I asked her, would you have a prayer you would share with the group? And she ended up sending me a chapter from her newest book, and she said she wondered if this would be helpful for us to hear it. And so I wanted to just read you a section from this, a very small section, but it, I think, speaks to some of the questions we have about what's going on, and are we alone, and what are we going to do. And so this is from her book. Renee, if you would put that up. This is Rita Reynolds. She is just one of the kindest souls ever. And it's coming from Not Only When the Rain Falls. It's in the chapter called A Guide for Each of Us. So just to preface, without reading you the whole chapter, she's walking through the woods one day with Sam. I believe Sam's a dog, and Sam discovers a fawn's body in the brush, and the fawn has passed. And so she spends her time trying to bury the fawn. So I'll pick it up where she starts. My head still bowed and eyes closed with tears pouring down my face, I was suddenly aware of motion to my right. It was as if I were watching the scene from a movie. It was so clear. The fawn's body was back where we had found it, and coming towards it was an enormous, pure white, shimmering stag, enormous antlers on his head, his feet moving as if on cushions of air. He didn't seem aware of me or Sam, and my feeling was we were actually watching something that had already happened in time and space. The stag approached the fawn, and as he reached the great head down toward the body, the spirit and soul of the fawn rose fluidly from the lifeless body, moved beside the great stag, and together they turned and moved away, disappearing into a dimension I could not follow with my mind's sight. I was stunned. I had witnessed a most profound event. The fawn had not died alone, nor been left in death in a state of confusion, for a magnificent angel had come for him. And so it seems those from beyond space and time enter our three-dimensional world to offer solace, love, and peace, gifts from a realm that holds us all, every single being, in total, accepting unconditional love. I want to assure you from my own experiences that what we call miracles occur constantly all around us. So many of those miracles are actually our own guides or angels, however you wish to call them, at work, watching over us, caring deeply about us. They are the most beautiful of blessings. While most go unnoticed, they come again and again without pause or restraint, ready for our acceptance. The light comes, sometimes in a shape we can relate to, perhaps to ease our apprehension we might have it as present because it wishes us no harm, quite the opposite. And sometimes a light appears just as that, pure light. The white angelic stag who came for the fawn, the light that shone bright to calm my fears. Miracles? Perhaps. But also they're there for every one of us. Nothing and no one is excluded, whether we choose to believe in them or not. A comforting thought, in my opinion. The light which has returned in so many other ways and forms throughout the years and now seems more present than ever. Angels, guides, ancestors, those who have gone on before, spirit animals, friends of the light, ascended masters, God, great mystery, essence, a great assemblage of love of the highest order. And I think Rita was wanting to share that because we can end up feeling very alone in this space, and the people that are suffering in Ukraine and the animals that are suffering and the just the collective suffering overall. It is comforting to know that we're not alone, that we still can reach for help, we can still ask for guidance. And the animals, as I've gotten ready for the show and over time, have shared a couple of messages, and I just want to share these with you. When I heard them, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to write this down. So, Renee, if you could put that banner with about the shift, if you'd run that on the bottom. So this is what they told me. Our collective shift is from separateness, manipulation, and disconnection to partnership, collaboration, and connection. And they basically they said this is from the collective council of animals. So this is a direction humanity is needing to go, away from the separation, away from manipulation, away from disconnection with one another, away from the us versus them mentality. And then they also said this, which I think is a wonderful question because it's something that I need to ask for myself every day. Renee, if you'd put up the one about service, they asked me, what are you in service to each moment of your life? When I think about that, I wonder, well, when I worry, am I in service to that? If I'm angry, if I'm fearful in each moment, then I'm in service to that. And so I think, for me, and maybe what the animals are trying to say is to be conscious of what we put our attention on, be conscious of where our intention goes, because I don't know about you, but once, the fear, anxiety, or whatever it is visiting steps in, it can be like a runaway train. And the animals have told me we stay in integrity with who we are. Humans don't often do that. So if I think about that and I'm thinking about these various emotions that are coming up and the things that I'm watching, as we all are watching, and the thoughts of it all, yes, Janet, they're heartbreaking. I think we also, for what we can do ourselves, can be aware of what we're giving our attention to, and is that what we really want to do? And so today I have a very, very special guest that I think is going to help our conversation immensely. Um, it's Kellee White. She's a spiritual medium and a licensed psychotherapist. Her specialties involve her work with trauma, loss, grief, counseling, changes, transitions, fear of death, and life purpose. A major goal of Kellee's work is to heal the soul, which often includes messages from loved ones who have passed on to the other side. Kellee is a co host of Both Sides Now and Beyond with James Van Prague every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Facebook Live and YouTube. And I can tell you from my personal experience, she's one of the kindest souls I've ever met. Her heart excludes no one. She's she's walking compassion. And so with that, I would love for you to welcome Kellee White to the show.
Oh my gosh, Tami, I'm so moved. Thank you so much.
It's the truth. It is the
Oh
truth.
my God, that's so sweet of you. I agree with what the animals are saying. I totally
Yes.
agree. Notice that animals don't really they don't sit and perseverate, do
No.
they? I
No.
mean, really? I mean, they have to go to the bathroom, you let them out, but they don't perseverate over things.
Right.
Where we take on things and then we really go to town with it until we get a hold of ourselves and really have to put our energy into action. And then we start to feel, you know, we're in a situation right now of not having control over things. And I think that lack of control is amping up anxiety and fear. And animals don't have that. They don't have that.
Right. Unless
But
they absorb it from
unfortunately,
us.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, then they have to absorb it from us, as
Yeah.
we're walking around upset and anxious and, fearful and everything. And the other thing about that is helplessness.
Yes.
There's a lot of helplessness energy going around right now. What do we do? Who do we trust? How do we get this here? What can I do? It's hard. It's a really tough time for the whole world right now. Really tough time.
Are you seeing like this in your work with people more and more, that there's a definite uptick with that?
Well, I'm seeing it in my own life.
Yep. Yep.
I'm seeing it
Yep.
in how I feel and how I'm thinking about things. And it's certainly in all the clients that I work with on a daily basis. I see it. I have a lot of thoughts about what's going on, and I have to also, for myself, have to be able to take time and go, wait a minute. All right, Kellee, now get a hold of yourself here. I have those moments every day, get a hold of myself. What's going on here? What am I feeling about this? I had a situation yesterday that kind of, for a second, I lost it. I lost somebody that I loved yesterday who passed away.
Oh,
And I
I'm
was
sorry.
so sad and so sad. Somebody that I really cared about. And I couldn't afford to go down the drain of, oh my God, because if I do, I I can't afford it. I can't afford it. So what I did is I snuggled with my dogs.
Yep.
That's what I did. I snuggled with Otis and Charlotte. Otis isn't such a snuggler, but Charlotte's a snuggler. So I just
Right.
grabbed them both, and then I cried and sobbed, and then I carried on again. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, and I think we were talking, I think, the animals have told me they're like energy scrubbers. They gave me an image of like this little scrub brush with eyes moving around, and they're scrubbing all the energy off of us.
But isn't
So,
that the truth? I love that.
mhm,
I
mhm,
love that.
mhm. It's the massive amount of helplessness and grief, and just standing, not knowing how we can help is, it's such a domino effect from there's nobody left unaffected, right? So
Right.
everybody's touched by this. This is a
Yeah.
world event.
Yes.
Definitely that. Um, what do we do with those feelings? I know, like for the animals, they're like, shake it off, like go run, go, they roll and roll in the grass. And so, we tend, it's like sticky paper, like, it's like stuck
Well,
to us.
Peter Levine's work with somatic experience therapy is all about trauma that's stuck in the body. And what he talks about is in the jungle or out in nature, animals shake it off. It's exactly what you just said. And so if we find ourselves now, because we're going into a situation, and as the situation grows and everybody feels more helpless and more anger, we have to do something with this energy. And so
Hmm.
shaking it off is actually a really good thing to do. If you can get outside or inside and move your body actually and shake it off. I used to study Sun Do for years and years and years. It's like a form of Qigong. And one of the things that we would do is this: we would shake off the energy like this.
Hmm.
You're familiar with that?
Yep. Yep.
Another thing is tapping. Tapping is really good for stress and anxiety. Tapping right here is so good. Tapping on your chest. If you get really anxious, start tapping. For grief, if you're really anxious or if you have a lot of grief during this period, this is really good for grief. It's one of those, it's just a great, so read about tapping, because tapping is one of those things that can help us expunge some of this energy. But it's going to be like one of those things you'll have to pay attention. Where am I feeling it in my body?
Hmm.
What's going on? Ask
Hmm.
yourself, what am I afraid of? Because what happens with this energy is, I believe that we are already getting triggered by lineage trauma. So if we had ancestors that lived in Ukraine, my grandfather came from Ukraine. So for me, he actually fled Ukraine to get here to the
Hmm.
United States. So, and that was in 1917. And that was the first time, that was the first war between Russia and Ukraine, 1917.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so if he hadn't been here, if he hadn't fled, literally, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
But I think what happens is, from a family standpoint, you look back and go, if you look at any of the wars any of your families have been in, because all of our families have been in some war. I mean, even to get to the United States, there were wars. I mean, at every angle have been wars here. And I think it's going to trigger that trauma. There's the Vietnam War where I think people are going to get traumatized by. I mean, just think like that and go back. World War II, World War I, we're all going to get traumatized by
Hmm.
this lasting energy.
And the
And
animals too that have,
yeah,
gone through those time periods
yeah.
with us.
Oh, for sure. And by the way,
Hmm.
what you were saying is so right on about animals. No, we have guides upon guides upon guides. We are never alone. The
Hmm.
animals are never alone. They have their own
Right.
set of guides.
Right.
The people that are fleeing right now have tremendous guides watching over them, watching
Yes.
them go through everything.
Yes.
Nobody's alone. It's actually not possible to be alone. So that's
Right.
really, really effective to know that. And when you
Hmm.
really know that, then you can have some sense of peace along the
Hmm.
way here.
Hmm. No, I agree. And I think that also maybe points to, if we're in that state and understand it, what is it that we can do from our space being here to help? Because everybody feels so helpless.
Right, right. Well, one of the things that we can do is, I say a lot of prayers. I actually wake up in the middle of the night saying prayers. Um, I probably didn't do this before, but I am now. I say a lot of prayers. I stay in meditation as often as I can. I I start looking at different sites where I can donate money. The ones that like on the Today Show today, they had a bunch of like vetted sites. I said,
Right.
okay, I can do that. I can do that.
Right.
I mean, these are the kind of things that I'm thinking currently. I mean, that may change later and I may have some other ideas, but currently that's about what I'm doing right now.
Yes, definitely. And I think if you even dial it down a little bit more, what if we're in the grocery store in the cash register line and somebody like does something to tick us off, then
Right.
that outer chaos then becomes our inner chaos as we act out anger or as we act out irritation
I
or
know.
coming out in like blurting it out almost like it just jumps out of our bodies. So I think even being aware, like
So true.
the animals are so present. And I know in my life, anytime, I've always gone to the animals. I've just gone and I've hugged
Yeah.
their neck, or I've touched them.
Right.
And the cats, the purr, that in itself is a healing vibration for
Oh,
the
I love that.
space, for anywhere around, and also the collective energy of all the different animals, all
Yeah.
the different species has come. We're all coming together at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's what can I do in my daily life? How can we cope with this avalanche of feelings that we have, and how do we channel them? And is there a way to channel them into something positive and not destructive?
Right. Right. Oh, I love that question. Hi, Renee. Hi, Renee
Hey.
Hansel.
Let's see, once we connect with our animals and they embrace us through our emotions, how can we help ground them and clear the energy from their fields? That's a great question. I
Great question.
actually, I actually, whenever I've had situations in my life and I've done that and holding the animals, I find that my breath slows down, my
Oh,
heart rate slows down. I actually start matching their pace.
mm,
And when we calm like that, the energy just leaves of its own. You don't have to do anything. The animal is transmuting it for you, actually. And so it's their gift to us. They're like, okay, come here, hug me. You can lay on me. Go ahead and kiss my head. Yeah, yeah, I got it. And then they're busy doing their like their ninja healing work with us.
seriously.
It's
Yeah.
the truth. It's the truth. So I feel like, to if you get in that situation and just say thank you so much for being there, that clears the energy. That's a prayer in itself. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I like that, Tammy. That's a prayer in itself. That's
And
so true.
let's see, do you think animals have to do a round two, three, etc., or do they get to come once and done? That's interesting. I like the once and done thing, don't you?
Oh, please, but that's just no. I believe that they
Hmm.
continue to come back with us.
Yeah.
And there's that great movie, Tammy. I'm sure you've seen it, about the dog who comes back like with several different families.
Yep.
I
Yep.
forget the name of it, but
A
it's a
dog's purpose, or a dog,
oh,
some anyway, something. Somebody out there would know.
I
Um,
loved it. And I think
yeah.
that's pretty accurate on some levels,
Yeah. No,
you know?
I totally agree, and I know, especially now more than ever, if there's this massive exodus going on, there's also new energies coming in to help stabilize, and there's just a lot of shifting going on right now. But they grow in spirituality like we do.
I have to tell
Absolutely.
you the wildest story. This happened yesterday. I mean, yesterday was quite a day.
It was a
So
doozy.
it was a
Hmm.
doozy, I'm telling
Hmm.
you. So my niece, I live on a farm in the middle of nowhere in
Right.
Wisconsin, and my niece rescues animals, and she's got a she rescues animals. She's got a what do I call it? A place. It's called Everyone Needs a Home, and so she rescues all these animals. But on her property, she's got like I don't know, a couple hundred acres. She had these beautiful, I'm going to call them cows, but they had these beautiful horns. I don't know what
Hmm.
they're, kind of special kind of cows with these giant horns, like these beautiful horns. And a couple of years ago, her favorite cow, like Bluebell, went missing. Couldn't
No.
find Bluebell, and she was devastated. She couldn't find this cow anywhere. I mean, literally for 2 years she looked and looked and looked. Yesterday, of all days, somebody came to her house and had gone towards the swamp area, whatever, and out they pulled the horns for Bluebell. And I will tell you, these horns were so special. I said to her,
Wow.
she wanted you to have this. This is your
Hmm.
new totem. Don't you
Hmm.
think animals do
Hmm.
that?
Yes.
I was
Yes.
dying to get your take on that because I
Yeah.
thought it was so important.
No, that's it's not coincidental. It looks
No,
random, but
it's no
yeah,
way.
no,
No
you
way.
can't write that stuff. So
No.
the she was actually guided to connect with those, so that Bluebell spirit connected. What a beautiful gift.
Oh, you should see, they're so beautiful. So she's going to put them up, and she was just so heartbroken when this happened, but still I thought it was an extraordinary story.
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
animals never leave our side.
No, no, they don't. So Paul says, I studied medical intuition, and one of my classmates had the additional skill to communicate with animals and find out what was ailing them. In that same class, I learned about what animals feel about the circle of life chain and often being part of our food supply. Based on what I learned, they are certainly more aware and wise than most humans. Yes.
Right on.
Thank you. We're loving this
Mhm.
conversation too. And yes, everything's interconnected.
Yeah.
And that's the animals are everybody's coming forward to have a voice.
Yes, yes, they are.
Everybody is,
They
and
are.
it's we can't exclude one another based on
No.
the way we look or where we live or
Yeah.
anything. Based whether
Yeah.
we have fur or we don't, it's we're all souls that matter. And so yes, there's definitely a huge movement forward that the soul train is moving.
The soul train is moving. Let me ask you something. You know, during COVID, when all of a sudden, so we're stopped, we're in COVID, nobody can go anywhere. And you notice all animals were rescued. Did you
Hmm.
see, was that your experience? That
Yes,
most
yes,
animals were rescued, were brought
yes.
into to live with people?
Yes, I was just at the vet yesterday, and that the vet tech was telling me about how that very same thing about how everybody brought animals in and how
Right.
it really helped them open their hearts and develop. And it's just this uh, silver lining
Well,
in
do
the
you think it's so going forward? So we bring them in. Even we rescued another one. So we bring them in, and then now we have this major situation ahead where we really need those animals to love on, to ground us, to to calm us. Actually, do you think that? I mean, I'm just thinking ahead. I wonder if that was
animals get
another divine purpose here.
100%. Animals get put in place, and I can't emphasize that enough with all my clients. I'm like, pay attention. When we say we rescued them, they're like, uh-huh, uh-huh. I was supposed to come in. You were just
Right.
like being guided, right?
Of course.
So they were, yes, that was, so you're right. They were at the ready, and they had
Yeah.
an opening for
Mhm.
them to come in, and now they're in place, and they're serving in a greater way than ever before.
I have chills when you say that. They really are, Tammy. They
They
really are serving in a way that now they'll get a lot more respect. I mean, it's
Well,
a
I think
really important time for animals.
people are reaching for understanding and what's more, reaching for connection.
Yeah. Yes.
We desperately want and crave connection. And if you look at what's happening in Ukraine and with Russia, it's the exact opposite. It's the separation, it's the destruction,
Yeah.
it's the antithesis of what the planet and Earth and its inhabitants are being guided toward. So, we look at this and say, how can anything good come of it? And
Yeah.
it's so overwhelmingly tragic. And at the same time, you see these people playing piano when they get off the trains. You see, all these volunteers. I mean, it's just an outpouring of opening doors, literally.
I think the purpose, I mean, I believe that COVID's purpose was to slow us down, to stop us actually, so we could understand nature, so the world could start to heal, so we could go inward, so we could learn about ourselves and move from a slower place. And then with the next thing, I really believe that we may not have paid as much attention to it had we not been in a place of wait a minute, what's happening here? Because we had slowed down enough. So I believe this next step, the next journey that we're on, this journey that we're on, is
Mhm.
about humanity. And
Yep.
I also want to say that you notice how gas prices are now, like in LA, they're like $7. I mean, it's like insane. Um, and I'm wondering if that's to keep us home
Mm,
also,
mm, mhm,
because if it's that
mhm,
much, people are not going to be going there. Now, I live on a farm. I don't go anywhere anyway, but it is interesting that it's
mhm.
going to be so expensive that are people really going to be traveling? They may be home with their animals. So I kind
Right.
of wanted to mention that too with the animals again. Kind of interesting to me.
Definitely. And, the ones that are in Ukraine and the pictures we've seen, they are in service to a higher calling.
Oh, oh, definitely to a higher calling. So let's talk about the animals that are in Ukraine, where it's just really been on my mind a lot. If you had to get to a train and you could only take, I mean, I hate to say Sophie's choice, but kind of feels to me like Sophie's choice here. You
Yeah.
know, what is going to happen? Have you heard of any animal rescues there, or people that remain there to take care of the animals? Or
I think that I think there are people in place trying to do that. I know that there was something that happened with a volunteer heading toward a shelter last week that didn't make it, and she had her car was full of bags of food to go there. So I do
Mm.
know people are trying to help the animals, the ones that are left. And I'm just hearing the animals saying the ones that are there are placeholders. They're calling themselves
Wow.
placeholders. And they're holding
Wow.
the space and holding the place, just like, okay, just like the ones, I'm getting chills, just like the people on the streets and the ground, they're standing their ground.
Oh my goodness.
So
Wow.
they're joining kind of that collective
Yeah.
team, as
And
it
you know,
were.
I had a thought as you were saying that, but also if if a Russian soldier sees a dog running around, wouldn't that bring some humanity to a situation, or a
Absolutely.
cat or an animal? It would seems to me you would be like, humanity. I feel
Yeah, no, I
maybe
would
that
agree.
do you think that some of these animals then are like soldiers out there for us?
Yes, yes, I do. In a different kind of way, they're like peace soldiers. They're like heart soldiers. And
Yeah.
um even in the suffering we see in their eyes, if that opens the heart of one hardened
That's what
person.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
definitely. There's some great comments. Renee, I don't know if you could find, there was one, I want to say it was Rosie or Rosie, it was about chickens. If you'd pull that one, there you go, Rosie. I saw it go through. One of my chickens was taken by something. I was very upset. Sounds silly, but I adore all animals.
Oh, no, Rosie,
Uh,
it's not. It's very upsetting, actually.
Oh, absolutely. A few days after this loss, a chicken turned up. I encouraged her to follow me down to the pen. I noted she had been a red, is that chook? Is that how you pronounce
I
it?
think so.
Okay, had two long white feathers on her wingtips. I was wondering what and who she was. When the chickens were let out of the pen later in the day, that hen was not there. I am in such awe. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I get all over
Wow. Me
body
too.
chills.
Me too. Maybe that was
Wow.
an angel chicken.
An angel chicken,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, just like Rita was saying in her book, they show up in all forms. And yeah,
Truly.
I
Truly.
love that you
Yeah.
recognize that, because then you received the gift that was offered.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so important. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that. That
really,
was
thank you.
wonderful.
Yeah, one of my first memories is I lived on a farm when I was 3 to about 6 in Indiana. I'm from Los Angeles, but we moved to a farm in Indiana for 3 years, and one of my first memories actually is the chicken coop with my grandfather, and I named every one of those chickens.
And
Loved those
did you
chickens.
visit them, and did they have
I
personalities?
did, I had names for all of them, they all had personalities, we had 21 chickens, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. No, so I get that, Rosie, I totally get that. Wait, this is a great comment too from Kat Lynn, and this is so important. She says, "Hi, Kat." She said, I don't wanna miss that one. "Oh, my grandparents said that animals themselves were leading others to safety during World War II,
Oh, wow.
and I'd like to believe the same will occur now." I totally believe that. I totally
Absolutely.
believe that. Thanks for writing that and sharing that,
Mhm.
because that is so true.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes, definitely. So,
Placeholders, yeah,
yeah,
placeholders.
they are coming in all forms, shapes, and sizes to sign up for the biggest mission of all, they say.
Oh my gosh, this is the big mission. This is the biggest mission.
Let's see. Hey, Julie, I hope your dog's better, Julie. When you talk to your dog like a person, do they know most of what you're saying? Because I do that all the time, and she looks right at me. I'm just saying, yeah, I mean, you may have
Yeah.
other people that tell you differently, but Katie would literally roll her eyes. And so, yes, they understand.
Mhm.
They're like kids. They tune you out if it's not priority.
Oh my God. Have you met Otis? Otis is something else. I tell you,
I, I
my
keep
Otis.
I keep wanting to say, and it's been coming to me ever since we got on. Otis sees himself as the guardian at the gate.
Oh, totally. Totally. No, Otis, he's the boss of all.
Yep,
He thinks he's my boss. And I'm
right,
like, no,
exactly.
I'm the boss of you. And then he's like, but when I have to tell you the other day, and I don't know if you have had this, you probably had this experience, but we had a big thunder lightning thing, the other day. And Charlotte, bless her heart, doesn't phase her at all. But Otis started shaking. Now we've have all the stuff to put on him, the vests that they wear and all that. But Otis started shaking. And here's what he did, Tami. And I know Don is watching this because I think he was surprised too. He came over to me and he put his hand on my his head on my lap, and I just held him until he stopped shaking. Now you have to understand, Otis doesn't come to me. Period.
But when he feels vulnerable, he's going to go straight to you.
He went straight to me, and I was like, "It's okay, Odie. It's okay, Odie."
He
and
says, "Thank you for not making fun of him."
I didn't make fun of. I would never. I mean, I felt so. My heart was. I felt I was so worried for him, because he was so scared. And this is a dog that he rules the roost. He has no problem with anything. He runs, and nobody's going to get around here. But that scared him.
Yep.
Bless his heart.
I think that energy ran through him very quickly, and he was like, "Oh," he didn't know what to do with it.
I think. Well, you know what? I have a. Here's a good question, and then I have a question for you.
Okay. So, hey, Kate, it's good to see you. A friend of mine has a dog, Cubby, with extreme separation anxiety. Any suggestions, Tami? Well, gosh, that is a hard one. It depends on what the dog is actually doing or the animal's doing when, that defines the separation anxiety. It's like a spectrum, really, of what that looks like. And usually I have found with mine, like I have a dog named Ivy, and she can't stand, she flips at the thunderstorm, the least little bit of thunder, and she's like flipping. So for Ivy, the best thing for her, she has a special room in the house I can put her. It doesn't have windows. She can hear no sound. It's like it's like her safe container, and she's fine, like totally fine. And that's where we put her, and she sleeps in there in the evening. But that is her like little cubby, her little cave. So, Kate, I guess it would depend on, what they've tried and how they, what are they saying? So I'd have to know a little bit more. It sounds if it's extreme that they've maybe tried a lot of things. So yeah, I would just have to know a little bit more to help.
Well, you turned me on and sent me some of those drops.
Well, the essences do help. They're not
really help.
The flower essences, I agree. I've had, and I use those with my animals with the Green Hope Farm in New Hampshire, if you look them up. But yeah, they have one for anxiety. They have, and so if you give them those drops continually, like in their water, then that will help them manage that anxiety better. It's not an overall fix. It's not like you're going to switch a light switch and everything be fine, but it does help. And I've used it for years, and different ones for my animals that have helped tremendously, for animals that were came from different areas of the world, and then they're stuck, they're expected to be a family and get along. So those essences are a godsend. So you may want to try that or suggest that, Kate. So let's see, Laurie Lee, Yukon Territory, Canada, and all my animals comfort me in so many ways. I cannot say enough about these wondrous earth angels. Yes, I agree. They're all over. They're, we need a lot of them. It takes a village.
Totally. We need a lot of them. Yeah.
So what lessons do you feel like, if you have any collective lessons that we're meant to get, that we're not getting?
It was compassion, kindness, empathy. It's all the reason we all reincarnated. The reason we're here is to have that. The animals show this to us every day.
Yes.
And to have the animals and to be lucky enough to have them. I mean, I always say that mine saved me. It's not the other way around. And to have that experience. And as we go into this next period that we're in, the next few weeks, the next period that we're in, you have to remember, as you said, if you're at the store, be kind, be nice, be thoughtful. It's all about humanity and having humanitarian efforts. And that's what this is all about. Because I believe in hope. I believe in hope, and I believe in prayer, and I believe that good overcomes bad. I just do. I've always been this way, and I will always be this way. For my last breath, I'll be hopeful.
Yes.
Really.
Yes. Well, I think we all have to be placeholders for hope.
Absolutely. You can never let go of that. You always have to have it. And people and spirits on the other side, I know there's a plan going on. I don't know what the plan is. I try to ask a lot
Yeah.
constantly. Um, but I don't, it's just, it's going to happen. Don't, just don't worry. I just keep hearing that. And I'm like, okay, all right, it's not in my hands anymore.
Yes, yes. And I think we have to have that kind of reminder for ourselves. And I think prayer brings us back into that
Yeah.
space of in the moment. I think that's one of the best. If you want to be in the present moment, pray.
So, boy, right? It'll keep you right there and
It
there.
will.
Yeah.
It really will. Let's see, when you have a lot of animals, do they come together to benefit each other and their strengths and weaknesses, or are they here for your needs? Great question, Susan.
Excellent.
So, I've had a lot of animals and still do, and I'm here to tell you I have witnessed some amazing things with the animals, some the personal growth where they came to learn about being friends, they came to learn to be mothers, they came to learn how to trust. They have their own spiritual path just like we do. A lot of times it mimics what we're going through. And I always would tell Katie, I always like to use her as a reference because she never was out of integrity with herself. She always knew who she was. She didn't apologize for anything. She was clear. She was so clear. And I'd be like, gosh, Katie, how are you that clear? So she modeled for me what I needed to really look at in myself. So
Interesting.
that's one of the gifts they can give you. So our needs, it's like reciprocal. We show them, they show us, but at the same time, we're each having our own spiritual soul paths. And, it's not just one thing. It can be several things in a lifetime, just like us. We're mothers or fathers or brothers or sisters, and then we have careers, and all of that is part of our soul path. That's
Well,
a
and
great
it's
question.
a great question because as you know, Tammy, when I really had been praying truly for another dog for me,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
and it had to be. We had very specific things. It had to be hyperallergenic, had to be older, it had to be da, 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 all these things. And sure enough, about 8 months into the pandemic, we were able to adopt Charlotte, and I thought Charlotte was for me. I was so happy, and turned out Charlotte and Otis, long married. This is a couple
Yep.
that we even have in our wills. If something happens to both of us, they have to be going together
Right.
because these two are inseparable. So she calmed Otis, except for the lightning
Right.
and the thunder. But she calmed him down in a
Yeah.
way. She taught him things I could never have done.
Yep.
And I'm so in awe of the love that they have for each other. It inspires me every day. Every day.
That's such a beautiful what you've witnessed, and she
Oh,
likes she we want you to know that she's his handler.
she is. She is. I'm like,
And you're like, "Thank you so much for coming into my
oh
life."
no, you have no idea. Don and I talk about this a lot. We are so blessed, and Charlotte
Saint
had a
Charlotte.
Saint Charlotte. She had a rough beginning, a really rough beginning.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
God bless her. But and he too. So it's just animals are fascinating.
They
They're
are, they
highly
are.
advanced souls.
Yes. Let's see. Hi, Helen. I wonder if our dogs know when their time is getting close. My 12-and-a-half-year-old lab never leaves my side anymore and practically sleeps on
Oh,
top of me. He howls when I have to leave him. And when I'm with him, he's like my shadow. He seems very sad sometimes. It's in his eyes. Oh, that's
yeah.
so poignant. And I totally understand that. And I get the sense that he's telling me that he's imprinting his essence on you.
Oh,
That's what he's doing. And so I would, as he does those things, rather than get your mind involved, wonder if, oh, he knows he's leaving or he thinks he's leaving. I would
yes.
just pay attention to his heartbeat and see, match his heartbeat with yours, breathe in the same rhythm because he's actually, yeah, he's imprinting his essence on you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And they do know. They actually do know,
Wow.
just like people. Um, let's see. Hi, Rain. I wonder if they train certain therapy animals to help those that experience trauma. Yeah, would that be considered a service animal? Is that something we
100%.
can ask the animals if they want to do this? I
Mhm.
love that last part. Is that
Mhm.
something we can ask the animals if they want to do? Absolutely. I am a big believer in not just putting an animal into service for something or you want to train them to do this or that. Nobody stops to ask the animals if they want to do it, right?
Mm.
So it's like it would be a courtesy, really. And the animals will they want to please. Most of them want to please, and so they will do it, but you'd be able to tell if it's something they really enjoy or not.
Yeah.
And most animals that are service animals actually serving a very, very high purpose.
I think the animals that are going to be coming into Ukraine, Poland, and that whole area are going to have to be animals that are highly advanced souls that come in to help with trauma. I do
Yes.
think that.
Yes.
And I have to believe that because they're so highly advanced and they know what's going on. So the souls that would come in would be here to help serve through trauma, because we're going to see a lot of trauma.
And that's probably why they gave me that. What are you in service to?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
See, Lisa, we rescued a golden lab 2 years ago, and he's so uncomfortable with affection. He'd gone through terrible physical trauma and lost a leg, and we rehabilitated him. My wife and I joke that he didn't choose us. I feel guilty sometimes thinking he doesn't want to be here. Do you have a take on that? Actually, I feel like being with you is one of the best things that ever could have happened to him, because even if he's uncomfortable with affection in his life, he's learning how to be vulnerable and how to open his heart. And that takes some time. And so for you two to be working with him in this way, just be patient. And, if he's not comfortable, that's okay. You're still going to love him anyway. Send him love anyway. But I don't get the sense he doesn't want to be there at all. I just get the sense that he's not, it's part of what his came in to learn on a soul level. It's one of his soul paths. How do I trust?
It's just thinking that, and it's so interesting to me because labs are so usually so loving. Something horrific must have happened.
Yes, definitely. So, for him to be in the situation where he's lost a leg and he's had physical trauma, emotional trauma, it's a brave soul he is.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
to face opening a heart again, or to face trusting again.
yeah.
Thank
You
you for
know,
that question.
yeah, good question.
See, hi Karen. There was a deer hit here and saw it laying disabled, so I sent Reiki to the deer while waiting for the police to come. The deer dragged itself across the road while watching me send the energy. It was heartbreaking after the deer crossed over. I was outside with my dogs later that night, and deer showed itself to me and thanked me for loving it. Oh my.
Wow,
Oh my,
wow,
I just get all over body chills. What a
wow,
beautiful, beautiful experience. What a sacred
wow.
experience.
Karen, that is such an amazing story because whenever I see an animal, again, I live out in the middle of a lot of nature here, so I see a lot of deers and all kinds of things. And I don't know why. And my dad asked me why I did this once. My father was Jewish, so I have no idea why I did this. But every time I see one of those, I kind of do this and I just send them love and energy. I don't know why I do that. I'm not Catholic. I have no idea why I do that. But there's something about
Yeah.
the sacredness of that moment, you know?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's a way we talk about the inner chaos in our lives, being kind at the grocery store, wherever we are. That is one practice right
Yeah.
there that we can do, of sending loving kindness, practicing loving kindness no matter where you go.
And I love the idea that she sent Reiki.
Oh, I
That's
do too. Yeah.
brilliant.
Yes, it is. Hey, Kat, our shape, form, color, creed means nothing. We're all connected and part of the great one dream.
Yeah,
That's what my animals have told me.
absolutely
Here,
right.
here, absolutely,
Yeah,
totally agree with that.
absolutely.
Um, so I have a question that I wanted to answer here before too much time goes. Um, so I can't help but feel upset with what I'm seeing in the world. How do I know if I'm affecting my animals?
Oh, great question.
So if you're going and having one of your moments like you talked about earlier in the show, are your dogs around when that happens sometimes? And
They were yesterday. I had a little bit of a meltdown yesterday.
does
And
Charlotte get worried?
yes, she
Yeah, I
does.
was feeling worry
Yeah,
energy from her. Yeah.
she actually does. And that's where Otis is kind of got that strength thing
Mhm.
going.
Mhm.
Where
Mhm.
she doesn't want to see me cry,
Right.
you know. And I don't normally walk around like that. It's just that I lost somebody yesterday, and it was
Yeah. Well, it
yesterday
was a real
later in the
moment. Yeah.
it was right after I finished my day, and I was like, what? Like this could what? And it was really odd. But yeah, she it's harder for her. But you know, they're so loving. I'm really lucky. They're just loving, very loving.
Well, I think, when we have our meltdowns or we get upset, and I know people have told me, I get irritable and I'm so sorry. And I said, well, all you have to do is apologize to them and say, hey, I
Oh,
lost it. I'm so sorry. Just like we would
yeah,
our family member, I'm so sorry. I wasn't feeling good. And then, make sure you clear the energy of the room, clear your own energy. As James would always say,
yeah,
go take a shower and clear that
right,
energy up, right?
right, right.
We can do certain things that help us to help them.
I have to tell you, James told me a wild story. I guess it was either yesterday or today. He said he was asleep and he had a meeting, like at say 9 o'clock. He had a meeting in the morning, and he was asleep. And he said all of a sudden he felt Maisie lick his hand
Mm.
to wake him up. And he said, I looked up and there she was, and I realized I had to wake up, you know.
Wow.
So she's so there, even though she passed away. I guess it's been almost what 5 or 6 weeks now.
Yeah, yeah.
She's very
No,
ever present.
she is. She's on duty, and
Yeah,
that's the other thing. The
on
animals.
duty.
Yep. The animals will keep
Yeah,
showing up, and so I think, you know, I guess how do I keep from affecting my animals? I think the question also boils down to how do I handle my own,
yeah,
energy?
yeah,
You know, how do and the animals will reveal if, I know Murphy, my white lab, if he thought I was out of integrity with myself, if he thought I was acting anything, if he
mhm.
even perceived I was off, he wouldn't have a thing to do with me. He would walk off. He'd be like, get your stuff together. So I was like, wow, that was a pretty clear, like,
Hmm,
I see. I know, right?
that's pretty
Uh,
funny.
and he was the kindest dog ever, like the Dalai Lama of dogs. But boy,
Oh,
he was very clear on, we have to uphold our energy and ourselves, all the
right.
time to the best of our ability. And of course, now is a really trying time for everybody. Um, and so let me see if I can grab some of the questions here. Yes, thank you. Hey, Beth, do animals sense the shift in the planets? Like they feel the
Yeah,
energy?
they do.
Yes.
They do.
Hmm.
Great question, Beth. I mean, absolutely, animals feel if we're experiencing or feeling it from all the different planetary alignments, which, we've got some big ones coming and we've had some big ones. They definitely feel it. Definitely.
Yes. Yes, they most definitely do. And we've
You'll
got
notice,
more
well, you'll
coming.
notice it. We've got more coming. You'll notice it because maybe they won't sleep through the night.
Hmm.
Or maybe they just get up a lot, or maybe in the case with Charlotte, she'll just jump in bed with us more than usual and get real close to me to the
Hmm.
point where it's like, okay, it's here we go, and I can tell something's going on astrologically when she does that.
She says that she's your thunder shirt.
She is my thunder shirt. She is. It's like Charlotte and I can handle it, and then he's, bless his heart, he just can't handle it.
um, hey, Christina, my 20-year-old Torty Maggie is looking at me sometimes with the want to leave, little spunk, little attitude, little herself left. I wish she
Oh,
could verbalize exactly what she wishes, what direction I should go with her future, or letting her fully go in euthanasia.
mm,
That's always, I'm working with so many people, and,
I
Kelly,
bet you are.
the transitions
Oh,
are many,
it's
and
huge right now.
yes, transitions
Yeah,
can last, they can be quick, they can last a while.
yeah,
It really is. I always tell my animals, look, it's your body, and I'm here to support that. I will do whatever you need me to do and to help you. I don't want to hold you back. I wouldn't
yeah,
ever want to hold you back. Even though I might be sad, I want you to be able to look back and see me cheering you on. And you
yeah,
don't have to, you know, worry about me. But that said, I would also say you want her to be clear with you. And she says she will do that. And so, let's see, if it's in her eyes, even if her energy is tucked in and quiet, she can let you know through her eyes. And it's just a matter of getting used to that form of communication with them when
right.
she's gotten quieter and she's not as energetic. And she says you will know. That's what she's telling me. You will know. So I would trust her. I would
Oh
trust that
yeah.
she'll let you know.
Totally. I have to answer this. Kat Lynn says, "Hi, Kat." She says there seems to be a great deal of loss and transition recently, and there is. And let me explain a little bit about that, because if you remember, right before COVID, like in December of 2019, or even we'll go from June or even any of 2019, but really when we got to about January of 2020, all these people were suddenly just dying. Young people, old people, just suddenly, boom. What happened here? They didn't sign up for COVID. So here, now follow me with the next path. Many people may not have signed up for what we're the next road that we're on as we find ourselves on this road, and that includes animals.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's like a
It's a
new.
different energy.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not an ending. It's like it's a movement into another space so that
Yeah.
others can come in. And so the chain continues. But it's like, well, I had an animal tell me one time
Yeah.
to tell their person that it's like Red Rover, send so and so right over. So
I
they,
love it.
when one leaves, the other one's coming right in. Um,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think,
Because the new soldiers have to come in.
yeah,
The new ones
yeah,
have to come in. The new souls have to come in.
yes, yes, yes. But the ones
Everybody
that
wants
are,
an experience here.
yes, and I think in our individual lives with whatever we're going through and the outer world and whatever it's going through, the best thing we can do is stay to keep our hearts open
Right.
and not close our hearts off to one another. This is
Right.
the greatest teaching that animals have said.
Mm.
Please just keep loving. Send love. On the street when you see one hit by a car, send love. Like you said, did you do the cross?
Yeah.
Anything we can show love, that's a step in the right direction.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
the
Here's a
animals. Oh, go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Well, here's a great question. This is from Renee Hounsel too, and she says, "How can we offer healing to the animals of the wild that have been affected or by displacement by war?" Good question. Or even deforesting. Can we show them many of us do care that they are affected by human challenges? Great question. Boy,
You
Renee, you're
know,
such a good thinker.
yes, yes. I what I would do there, and it comes from where I learned this in behaving as if the God and all life mattered, um, is connecting with the collective energy of that group,
Yeah.
connecting with the lion energy, because there's always a head of the group. Like if one time I connected with some yellow jackets, and when I got quiet and I connected with them, one yellow jacket stepped forward as a representative for the group. So I would definitely ask for that representative to step forward and then share your heart song with them, share your heart words, um, and send that through your heart to them, and they will in turn take that to the others.
Mm. I have to stop here and say, Yellow Jacket?
I know, I know. They were in our I know, I'm sorry. They were in our barn and the guys wanted to kill them and I was like, "Dudes, you better get out of there. It's gonna get ugly."
Oh, it's
I
gonna
said
get
I said
ugly.
I said I give you 3 days. I'm like, 3 days. And so when they came after the weekend, I was like, "Okay, so weekend after weekend, you're goners. You got to move. This is," and I even showed them where they can move. I'm like, "You can go over there in the woods and I'll even throw some hay there for you." They were gone. When the men came back to do the remodeling, I was like, "Oh, it worked."
Okay, you have balls, I have to say. I mean, I would have been so far out with on the phone calling get rid of these. Oh, oh yeah, no, no, no. I can't
Well,
even.
I warned them. I definitely warned them. So they actually listen, but a lot of times when you connect with like yellow jackets or wasps, hornets, angry energy,
Oh,
they're like not
angry
wanting to talk. Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, well, you constantly amaze me, and that's a big one.
Well, these particular yellow jackets had been watching. They said they were watching over the barn because nobody was there, and they considered it their barn. And I was like, "Yeah, we got some donkeys coming in and some pigs, and
Oh,
they're going to take over from here. You can go watch something else."
oh, did you ever look up yellow jacket totem?
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
should.
you should. You should, because that might have an extra long something an interesting message there for you. Might be
Definitely.
run.
Exactly. Um, but I think overall, I got an extra message from the animals right before I got on, and I think this is interesting with what they said. They said, "Watch as we collect in numbers. look up in the sky. There are more of us. Start noticing, and you'll see us gathered in areas where we are not usually noticed. We are coming together.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I
Beautiful.
think that's the way, if you think about it and what's going on in the world, isn't that what we're doing? Hopefully, we're coming
It
together.
is. We're coming together. We will. We are actually on some odd levels. We are. But should answer Susie's question because it was a great Susie Burrows. It was a great
Susie.
question. Yes, for me, and I know
Yeah.
you're the expert on this, but I will say definitely. I've had dogs that were such old souls. Oh my God. And then some that are just like new here.
Yes, absolutely. Just like people. They're
like
definitely
people.
younger and older souls, and you can usually feel it.
I love those old soul dogs.
I know. They're wonderful.
Love them. And they're rare. I
Yes.
think they're more rare.
Although I feel like now they're going to be coming in more.
Oh, I believe, you know what? Now that you say that, I think you're right because they were going to need the ones that are old souls that can handle trauma.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, I can't believe we're out of time. The hour's just flown.
I know it does. And now I know when they say that to me and like, oh, an hour went so fast. I'm like, oh my God, it really did go that fast.
It did. And there have been
Thanks
so
for
many.
having me on.
Oh, thank you. There have been so many wonderful comments and so many questions that are lovely. We'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would love it.
And Karen Rager, she says, Kellee, would the destiny charts work for animals? You bet.
Yes.
I'll try to talk about that tomorrow because that's a good question. But yes, it all works. Astrology charts work, numerology charts, it all works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thanks,
Tami.
Kellee.
That was fun.
All right.
Bye,
everybody.
You've been enjoying Tami's Soul Speak featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendrix.